first weekend of the men's NCAA tournament is wrapped up, and boy, was it an exciting one. We had some upsets, we had some last second shots, we had games that came down to the wire. It was just an amazing first weekend of hoops. And so I want to know off the top, what was your guys' biggest surprise from the first two rounds of the March Madness?
Yeah, I'll go first, Blake. I thought, I mean, I know things got a little wild on Sunday night, but the amount of chalk I thought was the defining factor or defining storyline of the first weekend, first two rounds. Kind of changed, obviously. We'll talk about Iowa and Florida, and UConn got a bit of a test late on Sunday night, but I think one double-digit seed in the Sweet 16 for the fourth year in a row, a lot of ones, a lot of twos, a lot of threes. I think this high quality, probably highly intense Sweet 16 we've seen that we're going to see. That's the storyline for me.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest surprise is seeing Florida go out. I mean, I agree with Paul. A lot of chalk. I thought we'd see even more chalk because I thought Florida would. I didn't know. I wasn't totally confident Florida would make it back to the Final Four, but I did think Florida would be in the Elite Eight. I thought we'd see all four one seeds probably reach the Elite Eight. I mean, up until a couple weeks ago, I would have been pretty close to putting Florida on the same tier or a very similar tier as Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and then they had a bit of a hiccup in the SEC tournament. I thought, okay, maybe that's not a huge red flag. We've seen it before. A team goes out in the conference tournament and they still rebound in March Madness. Well, that didn't happen for Florida. Really, just kind of a collapse the last couple weeks of the season. Credit to Iowa, but yeah, that would be my biggest surprise. I thought Florida would go to at least Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight.
I think for me, honestly, the surprise is just, and I think Paul touches on it, is the dominance from the top two leagues in the sport in the Big Ten and the SEC. I mean, considering the fact that the SEC, yes, it dominated last year and it wasn't as strong this year, but yet we still have the SEC well represented even after Florida got eliminated. And you see, we have six Big Ten teams, considering the fact that one of them will probably give up the biggest upset of the tournament so far. I think definitely speaks like these leagues are clearly in a tier of their own. And they're a great chance that they're going to be one of the conferences represented in the national championship game. So speaking of one of those upsets, we have two teams still standing that we probably weren't expecting in Iowa and Texas. So I'm curious for you guys, how far do you think these stories can go?
I think Iowa can take it one more round, and every time Iowa wins a game, Indiana fans are going to be thinking, wound up with the wrong former Drake coach. Ben McCollum obviously doing a really nice job in year one at Iowa after he sprang one upset last year as the Drake coach. Now here he is in the Sweet 16 playing against a Nebraska team that's looked really good for the first couple rounds. I've been pretty impressed with Nebraska, but Iowa as well. I mean, it feels like a bit of a coin flip game in that South region where it's very Big Ten heavy. So I don't think Iowa can get to the Final Four, but between Iowa and Texas, I would give Iowa the better shot of going one round further.
Yeah, completely agree. I think the run ends for Texas against Purdue. They obviously Purdue they could lose like to anyone at any time in March. So that's kind of a soft one. But I do think Iowa's got a good shot against Nebraska. They beat them earlier this year when the Huskers were in a bit of a lull. But I think mostly they just beat Florida. And a team with that amount of confidence after that game winning shot on Sunday night, clearly they're going to go into this game believing they could win. So I will pick Iowa of those two to go one more round. But like Blake, you meet Houston or Illinois in the Elite Eight. I don't think Iowa's beating either one of those teams.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy for me is that I got to see Texas up close, and that's not the same team that lost three games to end the season. And so this Texas team looks completely different. It looks exactly how what is expected in Austin from them. And while they do look like a completely different team, I don't think they really can get past Purdue given the experience that they have. So I will agree with you guys on that. I feels like Iowa has the best shot to advance. Final four, not necessarily, but the Hawkeyes in the Elite Eight, I definitely can see it happening on that end as well. So now we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire. We're going to talk about the top seeds that are remaining in the tournament. I want you guys to tell me if you are confident or not confident in them being able to reach the Final Four. And if you guys want to give a little snippet as to why, we can do that. So we'll start with Arizona,
Confident. I like it. I'm with them.
Confident. I think they have the best roster. No real weaknesses on that team.
Michigan,
Confident. I saw them in Buffalo. Good team, strong guard play. Lendon Borg, Johnson up front. That's a good team.
Confident and getting more confident after seeing what they did to SLU.
Duke,
Not confident right now, and not just because I picked St. John's to go all the way. I think what they did against Siena obviously speaks for itself. That's way too narrow. Rebounded a bit against TCU, but I'm iffy at this point.
Not confident. Too much talent in that region. I'm not really sure if I'm confident in any of those teams, but that includes Duke. Haven't looked great so far, and that remains a loaded region.
Houston.
I like it. I'm confident. They're the only team I believe in the bracket to win both games by 30 plus. They've looked the part of a team angling and pointed toward a national title.
Confident. I picked Houston in the Final Four before the tournament started, doubling down on that. They've looked good, as Paul said. They've got a great mix of youth and experience and an incredibly savvy coach in Kelvin Sampson playing at home in Houston. Confident.
UConn.
Not confident. Nothing needs to be added to that. Not confident at all in UConn.
Not confident. Not confident in any of these teams in the East region. I might be trading my pick in for Paul's of St. John's at this point, but not confident in UConn.
Purdue.
Not confident. It's March. No, no confidence.
Not confident in part because they're going to run into Arizona eventually.
And lastly, Iowa State.
Confident. I like the Cyclones. They did to Kentucky what good teams will do to Kentucky. They put them in a blender for 40 minutes, so I'm a fan.
Not confident. Wondering about the Joshua Jefferson ankle. Credit to Iowa State looking as good without him as far as they have, but not confident that they can take it to the Final Four.
Now, in this tournament, we still have some blue bloods left and teams that are trying to win their another national title to their resume. But what's kind of surprising is the fact that 10 of these teams actually have never won it all before. So, of the 10 teams that are still standing that have not won a national championship, which one has the best chance to cut the nets down for the first time?
Well, this is a good trivia question, Jordan, because you're testing me to see which ones haven't won a national title.
Right.
But I will take okay. So the one seeds that I think are going to go to the Final Four: Duke's won a national title, Michigan, Arizona. So who does that leave can win their first national championship? I think that leaves Houston. They came close last year. They've been a runner-up a few times before. Kelvin Sampson, I think, falls into that category of best active coaches without a national championship. Came so close last year, like Kingston Flemings, the freshman point guard, a lot, but they also have some veterans that have been through the fires before. So for someone to get their first national title, I would say Houston.
Yeah, agreed. I think Houston, for all the points that Blake made. In addition, I remember being in San Antonio last April when they lost that game, and there was a different vibe around that team. Clearly disappointed, but also there was a strong sense of motivation about how close they came and that they have what it takes to get back. So all that comes together to make me feel like this is the year for Houston.
Mm. I think there actually is one team that is unfortunately has not had that much success that I actually think can do it this year, and I think that's Purdue. I think these past two games have actually really looked like games that Purdue could easily fold into. Like especially when you consider how it looked in Miami for the majority of the game, that had the makings of a Purdue, blunder in March. But considering that Braden Smith did not play his best game and the Boilermakers were able to just take Miami out relatively easy towards the stretch, I think that shows that this maybe is a different Purdue team than we're used to seeing. And so, yes, they do have a tough task ahead of them with Texas and possibly having to face Arizona again. But there's something about this Purdue team that seems a little bit different that just maybe this can finally be the year that they can win it all. And doing it back at home in the state of Indiana, that would just be the icing on the cake for them. And then so we have to revisit our final four picks. I know me personally, I had all number one seeds in the final four. That's not turning out to happen. So revisiting your guys' final four picks, who do you think is going to be the final four teams that we'll see in Indianapolis?
So I still have two number ones. I've got Arizona and I've got Michigan. I think both those teams are in pretty good shape. I'm going to go with Houston, as we mentioned, and I'm going to stick with St. John's. I picked them to win it all going in. I am we're going to talk about that in a couple of days maybe, but I'm going to say St. John's gets through Duke, gets through, well, we know they can get through UConn. Maybe they get through Michigan State and gets back to the Final Four for the first time in quite a long time.
So I believe all four of my Final Four teams that I picked are still standing, if my memory serves, of who I picked before the tournament. I think I had Arizona, Michigan, Michigan State, and Houston. I see no reason to fade on that now. Really like the way Arizona and Michigan are playing. Have some concerns about Duke, so I think Michigan State maybe can get out of that region, although it sort of feels like a coin flip in the East. I think that's the toughest set of teams. And then in the South, with Florida out of the way, I like Houston more than ever. Illinois look good, but Houston at home with some of those veterans that were through the fires last year. You add in Kingston Flemings at point guard. Really like Houston to get to the Final Four as well.
Yeah, so I had 3 of my Final 4 picks still in. 2 of them I'm definitely still riding in Arizona and Michigan, considering how amazing they looked so far. And so I feel like their path to Indianapolis is looking pretty solid. In the South, I do agree that definitely Houston is my pick to make it now, considering the fact that this team clearly is on a revenge tour from last season. They're out for bad blood and they're ready to take down anyone that stands in their way for it. In the East, I had Duke, but I'm not feeling confident in Duke anymore, and I'm gonna ride the St. John's train as well too. I think the Red Storm, the whatever magic that they have in New York City brewing out there, I think it's gonna carry them through the rest of the bracket, and it's gonna be the story to watch as Rick Pitino gets his team back to the Final Four. So actually will take the Red Storm to beat Duke and go with take out my original pick.
Nice. Get on board. Bandwagon is plenty of space.